Welcome to Take On Those Shebs. My guest today is Eve. During this discussion, I spoke to Eve about her blog, Eminently Eve, and why she felt it was important to tell people how to travel Zimbabwe on a budget and also responsibly. All of that and much more. Let's take a look. Eve, welcome to the show. Great to have you on. How are you and where in the world are you?
Thank you, Shebs, for inviting me. I'm in Zimbabwe right now, and I'm doing well.
Fabulous. Whereabouts in Zimbabwe are you?
Right in the capital city, Harare.
Oh, amazing. I think I've been there myself, so I can tell you it's a pretty nice place. For people who don't know who you are, just tell us a little about yourself.
So I'm Eve from eminentlyeve.com. I am a nature-themed travel blogger or travel content creator, and I focus mainly on conservation-oriented projects or conservation-oriented destinations. So I encourage conservation through tourism.
Just want you to tell the audience a little bit about how you fell in love with traveling.
For me, it started from way back when I was very young, because I guess I was just born into a family which was really focused on conservation issues, wildlife, nature. So pretty much my entire time growing up, we would watch a lot of wildlife documentaries. And that sort of like got me to realize and notice that there is a world outside of just my world, or outside of just like the human life. So that was my father who would make us watch a lot of wildlife documentaries pretty much every day. So we would have maybe a couple of hours to watch cartoons, and then 10-15 minutes break to watch news. But the rest of the morning and afternoon, we would watch wildlife documentaries. The way that I was brought up, it just exposed me to this world of nature and wildlife. And so when I was young, we didn't used to travel to dedicated game parks and nature reserves, but we traveled to like rural areas, and we would see nature in its really authentic natural form. We will see smaller animals like duikers and bucks and stuff like that. It's from that experience that then caused me to want to travel.
You just mentioned about conservation, about protecting the nature. Is this the reason why you started your blog? And when you started the blog, I guess, what was the intention and what was the goal behind it all?
When I started the blog, what actually happened is I was traveling, and obviously I was seeing that people were not really caring so much about the environment. Like the way I was brought up, I realized it's not the way that everybody is brought up. And I would find myself in awkward situations where maybe I'm traveling by bus, and then I'm sitting by the window and people are passing their litter to me to throw out. And I'm like, I cannot really do that. So it's just being exposed to these kind of experiences that I realized that maybe I need to actually talk about these things, hopefully in a more natural and authentic way, so that people can maybe develop that interest the same way that I did. So I created my website and started my blog site to put travel information there of pretty much all the destinations that I go to, and people show interest. And then definitely I wanted to now connect the two, tourism and conservation. And then I came across this saying which says that people can only conserve that which they love, and they can only love that which they know. So that's why I started the blog site or the website, to combine the two and just make information more available.
When did you start this blog?
I started the website in 2020. I was about to say last year. In 2020, that's when I launched the website.
I guess it's an educational blog then, from what you were explaining then, to educate local Zimbabweans who didn't know or don't know about the conservation and the environment, how important it is. And can I just ask you how well it's been received, the blog, and where is it now? at this moment, and where would you like it to get to next?
I was actually surprised with the growth because conservation is not really like a fun subject. Now I have 20,000. I would say 30, 26, 27,000 followers across my social media platforms. So the main ones are Facebook and Instagram. And then I also have like a WhatsApp contact list. And yeah, so there's a lot of interest. I was not expecting that at all.
Very good, I must say. It's a large growth within a couple of years. That's really good.
Yeah, and also considering we are in a country, in a third world country, and data and they're not easy to get. So people,
that's correct.
It looks like people are actually really going a little bit out of their way to just get this information.
Have you marketed yourself? Is that how you've grown, or is it just word of mouth?
It's more so word of mouth because I just put the content on the internet. I've never actually even used boosting on social media and all. I haven't done that yet. So it's just really word of mouth. Like if I post about something, people tag each other and people share and all that. That's just how I've managed to grow like that.
So it's very organic, and also it's. Yes. I was going to say to you, you've built a community. So with any blog, anything that you start, a community is vital. So you can give back to the community can get engaged with you, and then share. And as you said there, they've been sharing what you've been posting, and it's educational for them as well in that respect. In terms of the blog where it is now and you've taken it this far, would you be looking to do it full time, or is this going to be a side thing?
I'm someone who likes to do so many things at the same time. I get I don't want to say bored as such, but my brain always wants to do so many things. So I consider everything almost full time that I do. So I'm finalizing on my master's degree, and I am an ecologist consultant. So whenever I get a project that I am interested in to do with, maybe a game park needs help with like game count or something like that, then I'm going to do that. But at the same time, as far as the blog site is concerned, I take it as full time even right now. I am very committed. So I make sure that if I'm putting out 3 articles per month, then I put out 3 articles per month. Yeah, so it's pretty much full time, and the process of monetizing and everything takes a bit of time because you have to continue growing and you have to continue, cultivating your community and everything. But I'm enjoying the process, and I'm happy with how things are going right now.
Have you managed to get sponsors on board? And if you're going to mentor people, I guess that's where you can charge a service fee as well on top. So that's where you've got money coming in.
Things are a little bit tricky in Zimbabwe because, like I said, especially the travel industry is just warming up to the whole digital marketing thing, to working with content creators. Other people call them influencers. So I have worked with. There is one that I'm working with, and I started working with them when I started pretty much, and I'm still working with them. And I've had so many brands that have reached out to me. But the challenge that I have, and I think a lot of content creators in Zimbabwe would agree with me, that they want to work with you, but they don't want to really pay what it's worth. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. So I do get some money. I do get some money through brand partnerships, and I do get some money through ads on the website. I recently qualified for Google Ads. So yeah, there is some money coming in.
I want to talk to you about your blog in terms of how you talk about budget traveling as well within Zimbabwe. And it's really, it's something I've been talking about for a couple of months now, because Africa is seen as an expensive destination everywhere that you go. How do you go about traveling on a budget in Zimbabwe? What are the secrets? Because when I was there, I found it fairly expensive traveling around. I guess also you have anyone coming from the Western world probably be thinking about safety, so you might use more taxis, etc., not necessarily public transports. And the hotels I was staying in was maybe slightly more upscale. So for you, what's your unique take on how to budget your travels in Zimbabwe specifically?
I think if you look at the fact that I've already said I have developed like a dependence on nature, it means that I travel quite frequently. And that means that I have to be clear with my budget because otherwise that's all I'll be doing. So the biggest challenge, I think, why people feel that Africa or specifically Zimbabwe is an expensive destination, it's because of what I said, that we have limited options on the internet. So you find that the ones that you find on the internet are the expensive ones because those are the ones that have understood it, digital marketing, and they've managed to put themselves out there. But we have so many other destinations that are actually not on the internet and they are extremely affordable. The biggest advice that I would give is that when you're planning to visit Zimbabwe, look for a registered travel agent. You can get help from the Zimbabwe Travel Authority, called Zimbabwe Tourism Authority. They will help you and they can even link you up with travel content creators like myself. But if you're coming from outside, I'll always advise to go through the official channel so that you don't end up with scammers or things like that just by finding people on the internet. But travel content creators and tour agents, they know different options that are not on the internet. So that will be like the first thing that I would advise you to do, that just go that route and get guidance and just be clear with your budget and the type of things that you want to experience, and you get a lot of help from that. And I think when you do that, pretty much everything is covered. When it comes to transport, the public transport in Zimbabwe is not the best. I'm not gonna lie. I've been to other parts of the world where like the public transport is like perfect. So we are not there yet in Zimbabwe. However, we do have car rental companies, again, that are so much affordable than the ones that you can find on the internet.
Are you working with some of these companies? Because if they have you on your books and say, right, go to Eve, they can obviously then pay you a service fee, and then you can provide the people the information on how to travel on a budget. Have you done that now, or is that something that you want to do going forward?
There is a number of things that I am trying to put in place, making sure that as far as like operating as a travel agent, I am well registered, and I have all the paperwork in place. So it's something that I'm going to look into. I am actually looking into venturing into going forward. But as of now, we do work. We are a small community, the travel industry in Zimbabwe. So we do work together. They are registered travel agents that I know, that I am very close with, and I know I can refer people to them. So like now I refer people, and we just work like that because we want people to have the best experience they can have, because Zimbabwe is an amazing destination.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say to you, you could potentially do it on a private level. So if you
Mhm,
advertise, you could have like a consultation, maybe charge a
mhm.
consultation fee, and then obviously that might come out their budget in terms of what they could afford. But that's another thing that you could potentially do, or would that not work if you are only catering towards a budget traveler?
If you want to travel, you have to have a budget. So I use budget as a noun, basically looking at your income and your expenses as far as that specific trip is concerned, right? So it's more like planning. So let's say you earn $10,000 a month and you can afford to spend $2,000 on a trip, right? The budget aspect comes in the fact that you still have to budget, because if you go beyond the 2000, now you're out of your budget and you're going to feel like traveling is expensive and traveling is like a scam. You're supposed to have different savings, and then you have your travel. So if you're putting aside $10, $50 a month, and you know that you want to travel twice in a year or whatever the case might be, you won't feel guilty or you won't feel like you have wasted money when you travel. You will just completely enjoy and reap the benefits of traveling. because you budgeted. So that is what I try to push to people, to just have that culture of um, planning their trips so that it doesn't feel like you've wasted money.
Where would you say in Zimbabwe is the best place to travel around on a budget?
The funny thing is, you can literally go anywhere. I'll give you an example: Victoria Falls, right? So, Victoria Falls is known to be one of the most expensive places to visit in Zimbabwe because, of course, it's one of the world seven wonders of the world. However, within Victoria Falls, I think it's actually one of the cheapest places because it has a diverse options of accommodation and meals, activities, everything. So I can give you an example. When you go to Victoria Falls, you can choose a tour guide who will charge you $100 to walk with you into the falls, right? And experience that, and then they show you around town. Or you can get all the information that you need from the destination you are staying, and you can use $5 to go and see the falls. So there are different options. There are hotels, 5-star hotels, where you're charged a certain amount of money, and then there are like chalets and lodges and campsites where you're even provided with the campsite kits. And yeah, there are even backpackers. There's so many options in Victoria Falls where whatever amount of money that you have, you just have to have a certain amount. You are able to actually travel on a budget. You can go anywhere and you can visit those places on a budget. It's just a matter of knowing all the different options that are available.
Yeah, I know what you're saying because I can travel around London on a budget because it's having the knowledge, and I'm a local boy in terms of London, so I would know exactly where to go to and the spots to go to. And it's what you've been clarifying to us, it's having the knowledge and knowing exactly what to do to save money. And it sounds as though Zimbabwe can be a spot to travel on a budget, and it's good to hear because I remember, as I said to you, when I traveled to Zimbabwe, it was a lot more expensive. And I did go to Victoria Falls. I remember it worked out to be more than what I thought it would be. Another thing I just want to point out, and I don't know whether it's changed since I was last there, because when I was there, the government was still under the Robert Mugabe regime. But when I was there, for people who were like myself, I'm actually a budget traveler myself. It was difficult to get cash from cash machines, ATMs. So another thing I need to ask you is preparation is going to be very important. So should they bring cash with them? What's the advice on when it comes to traveling to Zimbabwe right now?
We do have cash coming out of the ATMs now. It's not the same way that it is like, say, in a first world country. Because we have lower limits of how much you can get from the ATM, but you can. It's definitely a lot better than it was during the time that you came. If you can come with cash, then that would be a lot easier for you. And I would also say that it's a lot easier if you use the US dollar instead of the local currency, because you may get confused with especially the rates. They are always changing, so you may get confused. You're at this destination and you're told that the rate is this. Tomorrow you are at a different destination and the rate is this. But the good thing is the US dollar does not change, so it will be a lot easier for you, and there's no better option to say I've saved more money if I've used the local currency. It's pretty much the same. Just use the US dollars, and yeah, you can get US dollars out of the ATMs here as well.
When I came, I didn't get any cash with me, and I thought I could get the money out of ATMs. Couldn't do it. Had to borrow money from a friend at the time. So it sounds like the situation in Zimbabwe is a lot better than when it was when I visited. It was back in 2017, so we're talking about 5 years ago now. So it's good to hear. And that's another thing as well, the safety of, we mentioned public transportation. I guess the safety of someone coming into Zimbabwe now is a lot better than what it used to be. Or is it always been good, but it's just been the misconception or the Western media reporting it wrong?
It is one of the safest places to visit by far. And I take this from the reviews that I see from other people who are coming from other parts of the world, they are always surprised. Like, I didn't think Zimbabwe was going to be this safe. So it is actually very safe. It's always been safe, but I do think that the news, bad news travel fast, and it's the news that sell. So yeah, we have been, things have been safe, but Zimbabwe is definitely one of the safest places to travel, and with the most welcoming people and kind people. You can easily talk to people if you want to ask questions and anything like that. So it's definitely safe.
I want to ask you something very specific in terms of budgeting all of those, from eating, excursions, and your stay.
Most of the affordable resorts or accommodation options, they normally offer bed and breakfast. So when you make your payment, you already have breakfast. And then it's normally self-catering. So, but then it's self-catering with the option of either having a chef or someone who may not be like a qualified chef, but then they can cook for you and clean for you and all those things. So for me, if I want to do it on a budget, then I will go for that self-catering. And then I will pay someone to just, prepare something which is not as complicated for me. But it's still possible to eat out. It's the range of the meal. Let's say dinner, it can be from $10 to $20. So if you wish, you can just like say, of my 5 days, I want to eat out 3 days, and the other 3 days I want someone to cook for me, or I want to cook for myself, or something like that.
And what about the excursion side of things? If they were to go about things, can they get deals, etc.? Or what's your take on that?
You want to try to avoid peak holidays. So your holidays like Christmas, Easter, those kind of holidays, they are fixed charges because there's so many people who are willing to pay whatever the amount, and they are normally fully booked. So it's hard for you to get like discounted rates. But if you go any other time of the year or even weekdays, you're going to see that there's a lot of negotiations that are happening.
Good advice, actually. Any peak holidays is always a bad thing because you're always going to pay maybe double, maybe triple the time. So it's really good to hear.
One thing that I just want to point out is that Zimbabwe is a very unique destination in the sense that it has so many world records. So in as much as, you can visit anywhere else and have similar experiences, we just have that other layer of having a lot of world records. So the Victoria Falls, which is already known, which is like the world's largest waterfall in terms of capacity. But we also have Kariba, which is the largest man-made lake or dam in the world in terms of volume. We also have the Mutarazi Falls, which is the second largest waterfall in Africa, and we also hold the world's Guinness records for being the country with the most official languages at national level. So for those people who are interested in culture, in Zimbabwe, culture is directly connected to languages. So there's just so much culture that you can experience. You can imagine 16 official languages, so you can move from one culture to another to another. So it's quite a unique and interesting place because there's just so much.
I wish you the best of luck with the blog and your job as well, and your masters. I just want to ask you one couple of other questions. What's one fun fact about you that people don't know about you already?
I love languages, so I'm currently learning how to speak Portuguese. Yeah, so I think people think I'm all about nature, conservation, and travel, but I actually like other things outside of that.
What would you say is your guilty pleasure?
To be honest, I think my guilty pleasure is just always being with nature and in nature. So unfortunately, it goes back to traveling, but that's what I go back to when I've done everything else and I have intrigued my mind with other things. I always find myself going back to nature. It's just my happy place.
Eve, we've come to the end of our conversations. Before I let you go, just tell everyone where they can find you.
Instagram, You can just type in Eminently Eve and I'll show up, but I'm at Eve_intimacy with nature. But Eminently Eve is the easiest. I'm also on Facebook. It's also Eminently Eve. And then Eminently Eve, I'm sorry. And then I'm also, my website is eminentlyeve.com. And I'm on LinkedIn, Eminently Eve. So those are the places that people can find me.
Well, Eve, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And hopefully when I get to Zimbabwe, I'll give you a call and we can travel round on a budget.
Please do. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed.
Thank you very much. Take care. And if you're looking to travel to Zimbabwe yourself and want to travel on a budget and responsibly, do get in touch with Eve. All the important details are on your screen now. That's it for Take a Wonder with Shebs. Hope to see you all very soon. Until next time, bye for now.